Hello, Morse. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Start it up. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through His holy prophet, Nuwaupians. Allah. Yes, sir. So today's class is based on conversation that we had yesterday with a brother. We'll just say brother Nev Bay. Brother Nev Bay came by yesterday. So we're here building. We're building here for like 4 hours or something. And he's asking these questions. You know what I mean? He's asking these questions, and we're just like, yo, where are these questions coming from? You know, like what's the basis of your questions? Well, you know, I just need some information. I've been studying, blah, you know, whatever. So finally, you know, after like 4 hours or whatever, finally comes out that, you know, he's Nuwaupian. Right? Right. So it came out that he's Nuwaupian. Right? So word is from Nuwaupians who are just right up the street where we're at, and we just want to put some things on the record. This is edition 3, volume 1, the winter solstice edition of Moorish Guide newspaper that we got out here, right? On the back, just want to put it on the record, on the back, there's an ad for All Eyes on Egypt, which is the Nuwaupian store, right? Just to put it on the record, they never asked us to put this ad in the newspaper. They never paid nothing to have this ad in the newspaper. We put the ad in the newspaper because Nuwaupians are brothers and sisters, right? So, brothers said that the Nuwaupians are pushing right now. Well, not all Nuwaupians, because we build with Nuwaupians, and the Nuwaupians that we build with, they say that they're Moors. These Nuwaupians in Toronto, apparently, are pushing that Moorish rights or rights aren't respected by the Europeans. That's why they don't say that they're Moors, and they don't teach that perspective, right? So what we're going to go through today is just as much Dr. Malachi York information that I had at my house, and some other little things that I found online this morning, just pulling up some stuff to prove that Nuwaupians are Moors, that people need to stop playing around. Just like last week we talked about the Garveyites, and that Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey actually met face to face. They had conversation, and all the Garveyites were supposed to proclaim their Moorish nationality when Garvey got deported. That's what was supposed to happen. Obviously, it didn't happen because they still have Universal Negro Improvement Association, and everybody knows that. Let me get the Everybody knows that the Negro, right? Make sure you go to RV Bay Publications, go get this book, The Nigger Problem, right? Everybody knows that the Negro is a troglodyte monkey, chimpanzee, and there's no way that you're going to improve the Negro. I don't care how hard you try, it's not happening, right? So there was an article. Now this is how they punk us when we don't know the truth about our nationality and birthright, right? This is how they punk us. So there was an article I found online by a man by the name of Andrew Moran, right? Andrew Moran. And then just did a little bit of research on Moran. Moran, Irish, is a modern Irish surname and derived from membership of a medieval dynastic sect, which is really sect. The name means descendant of Moran, translated as big one. Morans were a respected sept of the Uí-Firak dynasty in the western countries of Mayo and Sligo. In Ireland, where the name descended from the Gaelic, it is generally pronounced Morin, M-O-R-E-I-N, an anglicized approximate of the Irish pronunciation. Elsewhere, pronunciation follows the French surname Morant, anglicized to phonetically Moran, M-O-R-E-A-N-N-E. There are many different crests of Moran, all bearing 3 stars and the motto Lucent in Tenebris, Latin for they shine in darkness. Ireland's contacts with Spain certainly extended back to the Islamic period, and the so-called Black Irish may have as many Moorish as Castilian genes. Medieval Irish monks probably absorbed Sufism and Islamic philosophy along with the art of the illuminated manuscript. Witness the extraordinary stylistic resonance between the Book of Elves and the Kufic Korans of the Umayyad Spain. If St. Francis could visit North Africa and come back to Italy wearing a Sufi's patch cloak, so the Irish might easily borrow from Egypt and Al-Andalus. Ireland was once part of the Moorish Empire. That is, the Celts were Muslims and there were blackamoors from North Africa also present in Ireland, but Moors were expelled by militant Christianity. This event is disguised in the legend of St. Patrick expelling the snakes. Right? So the man who wrote this article, his name is Andrew Moran, M-O-R-A-N. Right? So they get somebody with a Moorish name to write an article about Nuwaupians in Toronto protesting Malachi York getting sent to prison. Right? And when we look at the crest, there's one crest right there. Right? 3 stars of David on it. Okay? We already know the Star of David represents Yehudi or Jews or whatever, which is us. Right? Now, this one right here, you can pass that. Now, this other crest was, it's an image that's on a mirror. And, you know, when you pass this around, you want you just use your imagination and you just tell me what you see when you look at this one right here, right? So that's this one. So let's look at that. Just hold it up for a little bit. Right? Just look at that and tell me what this looks like. Right? This is the crest on a mirror. Right? So by Andrew Moran, Toronto. Since the imprisonment of Dr. Malachi York several years ago, supporters of the author and historian have protested his arrest. But as people walk by and watch the demonstrations, one must ask the quintessential question, who is Malachi York? Who is Dr. Malachi York? During Tuesday's demonstration in Toronto, there were people who came up to a couple of the activists and said they have followed Dr. Malachi York's work, while others approached the group and asked such questions as, who is Dr. York and why are you guys standing here? Malachi York's legal case does not appear on the nightly news and his work is not in every Western university classroom. So who is Dr. York? Why is his situation to so many people? What is Nuwaupianism? Why care? Digital Journal will attempt to summarize his life and his situation, which has brought together thousands of people from around the world in order to gain a better understanding of this influential individual. About Dr. York. Malachi York, also known as Dwight York, Malachi Sedek, Isa, Muhammad, and dozens of other aliases, was born June 26, 1945. York was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and as an author, musician, scholar, historian, and founder of the United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors, right? Or better known as Nuwaupianism, which was generally established as a black Muslim group during the 1970s in New York City, right? Black Muslim group, right? Go to our friends right here. Our friends. 12 major minority organizations that are familiar to the 22 million, all organizations and their leaders are under constant 24-hour surveillance. The organizations are: 1. Black Muslims. So just so we get it out there that, right, that the Nuwaupians been under 24-hour surveillance because, as this article says, Malachi York established a black Muslim group, right, since the 1970s. York was also a singer who was the lead singer of Jackie and the Starlights, The Students, and Passion. In 1980s, York established his own record label called Passion and released his debut single, It's Only a Dream. Right? It's only a dream. Right? The author has written more than 360 books on the subjects relating to history, science, religion, and others. Such books include First Language, Garden of Eden, The Birth Ceremony, Could Jesus Transform Himself? Is God a Wimp? Are There Black Devils? What and Where is Hell? The Hidden Meaning of Freemasonry, The Mystery Clouds, Are They UFOs? And countless others. York's practices, beliefs, and teachings. A lot of Malachi York's beliefs have been called unconventional and controversial, as they are something that the mainstream culture tends to avoid or immediately dismiss. However, a lot of what he has discussed in the past has come to light by very few people, including Alex Jones, William Cooper, David Icke, Zachariah Stitchin, and Jordan Maxwell. York's books and lectures have touched upon the subject of quantum physics, history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, geopolitics, genealogy, religion, science, and music. For example, in the book The Man of Many Faces by Yovan Christian and Adafa Nimrod Nicole L., one of York's beliefs, which was made famous by Zachariah Stitchin in the 1970s, is that there is an extra planet in our galaxy called Planet X, or Nibiru. This planet, according to York, is described in the ancient Sumerian tablets as a fleet of ships sent out from the Anunnaki home galaxy, Ilion, to search the universe for mineral resources. Another example of York's beliefs is Atlantis, which he states was called Atlan and was the center of the empire of Amexem. This empire was founded by the descendants of Nuwaupians from the continent of Africa. This area was located, says York, between Americas and Africa, where they once located around the Gulf of Mexico. York urges people to use the matching continental outlines, where it will reveal a large hole around the current location of the Caribbean islands. Global demonstrations took place to protest the imprisonment of Malachi York, who many believe to be innocent of his charges. Some think that the arrest is part of a grander scheme. We agree with that, right? Partly because everybody who trumped up charges on them, they recanted all their statements, like in live video came out, that people paid them off, they lied about him and all that, right? But he's still doing time. So something else must be going on if all the statements aren't true. He didn't molest any children or whatever, but he's still locked up right now. York's past and present experience with the United States judicial system. According to a 2002 edition of York Times, York was probation after pleading guilty. That's the same thing with the rape and all that. The Liberian diplomat and Nuwaupians had a fierce dispute with the government during the 1990s after the group created Tamaray in the state of Georgia, which is an Egyptian-themed city that featured pyramids, ruins, temples, and even living spaces for Nuwaupian followers. The complex was built on 476 acres and was completed in 1993. The area was later acquired by the government through asset forfeiture in 2005, which was then sold. Majority of the buildings were demolished and torn down. In April 2004, York was sentenced to 135 years in prison after he was arrested in May 2002. His expected release date is January 15, 2119. However, activists believe his arrest was wrongful under the laws of the United States justice system. The group further provides document and video evidence that one of the child victims lied about her testimony while another alleged victim was bribed by the FBI. York has accused the court of prosecutorial misconduct. Global demonstrations took place to protest the imprisonment of Malachi York, who many believe to be innocent of his charges. Some think that his arrest is part of a grander scheme. Project Rise Up explains that he was sentenced on Martin Luther King's birthday, which is a statutory holiday and violates habeas corpus. In an email to Digital Journal, the group states, the campaign will highlight the violation of Martin Luther King's birthday by officials who choose to contravene the federal holiday law, which is a direct violation of Title V USC 6103 and Public Law Section 2, 98 to 144 by holding trial court on Martin Luther King's birthday, as well as a myriad of other constitutional violations. Tristan Coffey, a Toronto organizer for the Project Rise Up, explained to Digital Journal in October, "It's basically a massive embarrassment of the United States judicial system. I can't even tell you how much money they spent on the Waco-type raid that they did." A spokesperson for the group stated in an email that they will not let the U.S. tarnish MLK's legacy, and if we let them get away with desecrating King's birthday, we'll allow them to destroy the movement, the dream, and the legacy of a great man. The next step, marching on Capitol Hill and all Negro black colored stuff, right? So, what's the issue with him still being locked up? Like the brother was saying last night, one of the things or one of the statements that he made was that, well, I have a Nuwaupian name, right? I have a Nuwaupian name. Okay, that's cool, but there's no treaty, there's no contracts, there's nothing with the name Nuwaupian in it, as far as the U.S is concerned. So why would they care about anything having to do with Nuwaupians or a leader of Nuwaupians, especially if they know that they're black Muslims and they're dreaming, and Malachi wrote a song about it. Only a dream, right? That's the protest picture, right? So let's get to the information to prove that these people that call themselves Nuwaupians, that their own founder reps Noble Drew Ali harder than some Moors even rep Noble Drew Ali, right? So the holy book of, actually before we even go there, let's start with the fact, documented fact, that the United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors have their own constitution, right? And this is the cover of their constitution. And their constitution says, UNNM, the United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors. So they're not a group. They're Moors. They're a nation of Moors called Nuwaupians. They're not a group of Nuwaupians like they claim that they are, right? They're a nation of Moors, right? Malachi York book, just to show, I study him. It's not like I'm not, some basher of Dr. York L, right? He's a Moor, so we study from Moors. That's just how we do. So this is Leviathan 666, the beast as the Antichrist, right? And then right down here, you can see Supreme Grand Commander Dr. Malachi Z. York, 33 degree, 720 degree, Sovereign Grand Commander of the Nuwaupian Worldwide Masonic Lodges. Go to page 2. Page 2. As a Moorish American, under the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, 1886 to 1929, as a Moorish card-holding member since 1973, Malachi York L. I republish the revised scroll 219, the Holy Quran, Circle 7. Right? And then that's what we were talking about, telling the brother that, they're
laid on the more.
right?
Laid on
That
the
the Malachi York L man from another planet put out his own copy of the Circle 7 for the Nuwaupians to have. Right? This is separate from our Circle 7. Right? This is specifically for the Nuwaupians that Malachi York put this up. Right? And then in it, you have a picture of himself with his fez on and all that. Right? And you follow the protocol. You have a picture of Noble Drew Ali in there, so they're not confused about him.
Islam.
Right? Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Not the Moorish Science Temple of America. Moorish Holy Temple of Science. So that means Malachi York got certain degrees of information from the Dingo L brothers who brought him in. Right? And again, picture of the Prophet. And again, picture of the Prophet. So he's making it clear that he's sending a message to these people who want to call themselves all these other things that they know that they're not. Right? Got a picture of the Sultan, who when we did the Skype lecture with Brother Asir, right? Brother Asir broke down to us that when Noble Drew Ali went to the Pan American Conference, the Sultan was at the conference. And the Sultan was at the conference because the descendants of Hagar, formerly the head of the holy city of Mecca, were the custodians of the Moroccan Empire when the Moors fell. So they had to be there. And they had to tell all these other Indians and whoever else that were in attendance, you guys sit the hell down, chill, and you wait for the Prophet to come. You don't want to hear anything from you guys. You guys this is not about you. Right? This is about Noble Drew Ali, the Prophet, who, again, in the Circle 7 has a picture of the Sultan, and there's not any documentation out there of the Sultan blasting Noble Drew Ali for using his picture and all that stuff. Right? Which means that they were obviously down with him putting his picture in the book. Right? So we go to from the Renewer. From the Renewer. This Holy Quran Circle 7 has been divinely prepared by the noble Prophet Drew Ali, born January 8, 1886 and died on July 20th, 1929, which includes the lessons, was put out by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I, Dr. Malachi Z. York, founder of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek and Grand Master of HTM, in an effort to further uplift my Moorish American brothers and sisters who continue their spread of truth and unity amongst my Nuwaupian brothers and sisters, or my Nubian brothers and sisters. The Holy Quran Circle 7 was compiled and put out in collaboration with Brother Eloah A. L. Emmanuel, a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America since birth of a family of the original and registered on April 25, 1976 by the Moorish School of Law and History, by Grand Sheikh Richardson Dingle L., certificate sealed and signed by Divine Minister Sheikh Alfred Collins L., and Director and National Registrar Sheikh Clarence R. Reynolds L. I release this with total sincerity in hopes to keep the legacy of the Moorish Science Temple alive. 1996 AD. Islam, right? So Malachi York put out his own Circle 7, and in his own words, he put it out in an effort to further uplift my Moorish American brothers and sisters who continue their spread of truth and unity amongst my Nubian brothers and sisters. So he's making it specific that Nubians and the Moorish Americans are brothers and sisters. And by putting out Circle 7, not only did he put out Circle 7, right, he also put out his own holy book, right? The Holy Tablets. So he put out a book called the Holy Tablets for the Nuwaupians. Chapter 1 of the Holy Tablets is the Circle 7. Like the whole thing is in the Holy Tablets. So how is it that you have these people, right, that claim, just like the people who claim that they love Garvey, the people who claim that they love Elijah Muhammad or whatever, and you have somebody putting out Noble Juali's literature on Noble Juali's behalf in order to assist the groups that they founded or whatever, and those people that are in those groups are saying that they have nothing to do with Moors, that they can bypass what Noble Juali taught because Malachi York brought them something that is way up here, and they're gonna go up on in the ethers, and they're gonna ride the whatever ships that are coming, right? You know what I mean, right? When everything that he was doing, everything that he was presenting was to teach people about their nationality and birthrights through that school or that whatever it is called Nuwaupians, right? Like it's you could call it treasonous, you can call it traitors, you can call it backstabbing, Quintel King Alfred plan, agent type motives, because it's clear in all of the literature, right? So we go to Nuwaupian Moors newsletter, October 12th, 1997, edition 1, volume 10, right? And in this paper, right, also too recognize that the format that it's in, it's not in newspaper square format, it's in legal format, right? And then it's Nuwaupian Nation of Moors newsletter, which they changed the Tamaray Times. They don't even call it Nuwaupian Moors newspaper anymore. Why are they changing man's stuff for? Why are they changing this stuff? Why are they taking it on themselves to change the name of the newspaper from Nuwaupian Moors newsletter to Tamaray Times, right? And through these, he's talking about, let's read right here. Page 2. Supreme Grand Master Naya Malachi Zadok L, known simply to us as Black Eagle or the Maku chief of our tribe. When you pass by on Route 142, you can't help but notice our well-tailored and beautiful homes along with mailboxes and grand Egyptian obelisks, pylons, statues, showing the image and likeness of our ancient ancestors such as the Olmecs. Egyptian gods Hathor, Osiris, Isis, Anubis, and Ra, who were all Nubans, that is original people. Before we go into any further detail about mulatto, especially here in America, we must first reiterate the true story of indigenous people of America known as Nuwaupian Moors, Yamasee Native Americans who were Olmecs from Uganda, Africa. You see, these Nubans, Moors, are and were the real indigenous people of this planet. So they're saying right there that everybody is known as Moors all over the planet, and were the real indigenous people of the planet spreading all across the globe, including the Americas. These Nubans that traveled here before the continental drift thousands of years ago later became known as Olmecs by their mixed children with Aztecs. These same Nubans mixed with the Mongoloid race of Chinese under a man named Su Shen, Hsushen. He sailed over here from China in 459 AD And that's how the Aztecs, Hopis, and various other tribes of American Indians, our children, came about. Right?
Did it say he wrote that? He wrote that like in Japanese?
By staff writer. So who knows? But they know what's up. At least in these writings and the writings from Nuwaupians who say that they're more, right? Let's go here now. Tariq ibn Zayd. Everybody on the continent of Europe were living in the Dark Ages and experiencing the bubonic plagues. The Moors gave Europe culture. Just take a look at the Silham robes that were adopted by the KKK fraternity. And if you were to remove the hoods off these same races, they are not Aryan or blonde hair and blue eye. You KKK are mulattoes as well. The Moors wore velvets, silk, brocades, and embroidery, whereas the Europeans walked around in sackcloths. The Moors introduced music and dance, the worldwide popular flamenco, and gave the Spaniards, many whom are mulattoes, science, architecture, agriculture, oranges, and other citruses as the lemon and lime, who later on introduced them to the New World or the Americas. The Moors had baths and lighthouses throughout Cordova, Seville, and the rest of Spain. The Moors built the Alhambra and the countless other beauties throughout Spain and Portugal, which were later converted into churches. These are all proven facts. There is still a street in Seville, Spain, named after the Moors, named El Conde de Negro, which means the nobleman or count of the black, and their mulatto descendants who still live there today. Even the great Spanish tennis player Pete Sampras shows Moorish features. The Portuguese royalty also shows signs of Moorish miscegenation in their royal blood and common population too. Now, the question now that comes up is, if we have this Nuwaupian Moors newspaper, right, and they're making claims that Nubans are Moors and Nubians are Moors, how come when they're talking about Spain, they're not talking about Nubans? If Nubans are such ancient people. How come when they're talking about Spain, they're not talking about Nubians? How come when they're talking about Spain, they only make reference to Moors? Right? Continue on. Nuwaupian Moors newsletter. September 21st, 1997. And also keep in mind that every paper says Nuwaupian Moors newsletter, then under that it says United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors Constitution. Right? Let's see what's good. Now a lot of these papers, if you talk to Nuwaupians, they'll tell you certain things you can't get anymore. Right? Certain books and all that you can't get. You're not gonna find those anymore. Right? Let's see. All right. What are all of these movies about? Movies are made so that you will always reflect back to some type of fantasy land idea. In one sense, movies are made to prepare you for what is to come. At the same time, a lot of Hollywood theatrics is added to give it some spice. Just as you started reading this newsletter, I'm sure that from time to time you began reflecting on some movie you've seen. This is done in order for you to deny the reality of what is going on around you, or simply there is fiction mixed with fantasy. So movies and advertisements showing all types of extraterrestrials had to be produced for you, the public, so anyone who came in contact with or had been abducted would not believe it. The reality should be something shocking to you, but the movies have made you numb. Take, for instance, the movie Mars Attack. They will show you some little green men and say, this is what extraterrestrials look like. However, they will not give you the reality of humanoid beings who, upon first glance, look like human beings, such as the characters in the movie The Arrival. Or what about the movie Independence Day, where they give you the impression that you will be able to defeat extraterrestrial beings using weapons such as a stealth bomber, when it is obvious from the movie alone that the technology is much more advanced than that on Earth. It is obvious that the stealth was copied from a craft that was seen and studied, because there is no way possible that they could have built a machine resembling what they call a UFO without knowing what one looked like and how it operated. Not to mention that both Mars Attacks and Independence Day was based upon the murdering of Congress, the president and his family. If you want to investigate the psychoanalysis, anyone, it should be those that wrote the screenplay of these movies. And don't forget Flight of the Navigator, War of the World, Deep Space Nine, Stargate, Babylon 5, Men in Black, Fifth Element, Cocoon, Communion, Contact, Enemy Mine, Alien Chase, Starman, Aliens 1 and 2, Intruders, Star Wars, Close Encounters, Species, Mac and Me, Battlestar Galactica, X-Files series, Brother from Another Planet, Close Encounters, E.T., Fire in the Sky, They Live, Body Snatchers, Children of the Damned, Predator, Jurassic Park, just to name a few. This is what right knowledge is about, being able to differentiate the facts from the falsehood. We are tired of the myths, and we are tired of the myths. We are now in a day and time when modern technology is being used. We are now in the computer age, where UFOs and IFOs are being identified. We, the United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors, are not locked in the religious tunnel vision that is blinding our people. Anytime a Nuwaupian is watching a movie, you can believe they don't see the same as the average person. We tend to look at the hidden message that is behind the laughter, drama, and action, because in every movie or television show there is either a good or bad message. When you talk to a Nuwaupian, you will get a whole different type of conversation. This is why the Supreme Grand Master gives us a well-rounded education about everything under the sun and now above the sun. And then it says, for information, contact United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors. Right? And these people claim that they're dissing the prophet. Right? They don't deal with that anymore because in them dealing with that, look at Dr. York's case. Him being a Moor didn't work. Him being a Moor didn't get him off his charges. Right? This is how some Nuwaupians talk. This is the projection that they're putting out there to people who might be ignorant of the facts. Right? Now, another thing that the brother brought up was Ben York. Right? And came back to the same thing about the name. Like if you're gonna say that you're indigenous, you're gonna have a name York. Like that's a contradiction. You're not gonna call yourself York if you're indigenous, right? You're gonna have an indigenous name. Well, okay, I have a Nuwaupian name. All right, cool. So if you have a Nuwaupian name, how come your leader calling himself York? Right? That's a contradiction. That's enough to say that you're in contempt and give you 135 years. Right? If you're claiming to be somebody that you're not in a so-called court of law, and the people who are adjudicating against you find out that you're not who you say you are, that's contempt. And they will throw the book at you. They will make an example out of you so other people get deterred from doing what you did. And then they'll stick to the whole, going and marching, protesting, building up stuff and say that it's a prison, have a man sit in it or whatever, go on the street in the rain protesting, right? And the man still didn't get let out. After you did all that, sign petitions and all that, call up governor, call up this legal man, that legal man, right? Get all these advice from all these people, and man still didn't get let out. People said that he didn't do it. People said FBI paid him off to tell lies on him, and he still didn't get let out. Something must be going on if he didn't get let out, right? Because there's Moors who stand on their nationality and birthrights. Matter of fact, European Moor, a pale-skinned Moor from Toronto that comes to our temple, that has nationality paperwork, nationality card, right? He went to court, and they dismiss his stuff. And then they're gonna say that, they don't respect Moorish rights and they don't respect the angle that Moors bring the law. That's why Malachi York's still locked up. No, there's something way bigger going on that these people aren't even considering because they're taught not to consider certain things with regard to Dr. York.
I've heard a Nuwaupian say that the more paperwork you push in their courses, the more that your term is longer. That's why.
What kind of paperwork are you pushing?
He didn't specify.
Yeah, because they don't study law. So that's just a blanket statement. That, well, if you push more paperwork in there, you get more time. Yeah, if you're pushing UCCs, if you're pushing some paperwork that you file with some unknown entity, if you're pushing some paper that you got from some website because you seen a YouTube video and a man said, yeah, I got a paperwork and I put a court and then they dismiss my stuff. And then you're going to go now on his website and download that paperwork and you don't even know what that's about. You put your name to that and you're sending that into court. Yeah, they'll call you a paper terrorist and they'll give you terrorist time. They might send you Guantanamo Bay or something like that. Just because. They'll put you under the prison. Just because. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And if you don't know what you're talking about, then that means you're incompetent. And if you're incompetent, more than likely you're a crazy person, and we can't have you around society because you don't even know what's what, right? And it's not a thing of again, this doesn't have nothing to do with Malachi York. Like, he's an elf, and I know from studying Malachi York that he's been dying for Nuwaupians to step the hell up, step their game up. He put out too much information for them to just be sitting back while these people take the land back. Matter of fact, how did he get all that land? That 496 acres of land. He didn't get that claiming to be no Nuwaupian. He got that based on status. He got that based on nationality birthrights. And that's part reason why they destroyed him. Another part reason why they destroyed him is because he was revealing all the Masonic secrets. He was putting everything out there. Everything. All the handshakes, all the whatever that they do, all the rituals when you go in the chamber, what you get, how much, like he was putting it all out there. Right? And he's in Georgia doing that. Right? Which, again, right? King Alfred Plan, the executive order was authorized October 19th, 1969 to counteract the minority. Right? And in King Alfred Plan, they tell you that the greatest concentration of the minority is the Deep South, the Great Lakes region, right? South Central region, Southeast region, Northeast region, and the West Coast. So Georgia is in the jurisdiction of where there's a big population of so-called Negro black colored people. And all those Negro black colored people getting on some, Nuwaupian nation of Moors and starting to claim 496 acres like Dr. York's doing is going to be a big problem for the corporate construct. Like, big problem. And they can't have that. Because if he's going to come claim 496 acres and build pyramids and all this type of stuff, right? What if all those people start doing that? Matter of fact, what if all those people took him serious when he was actually doing that? Opposed to going on land with him, how about you go claim your own stuff? Because he's showing you, he's giving you a template, right? He was giving all of them a template. He gave them the Circle 7 that they can use. There's Moors that they only use Circle 7 when they go to court and win. They don't even use paperwork and all that stuff. They use Circle 7 only, and they go to court and win. Like Trump judges, Trump court, Trump prosecutor, because they're using their quote-unquote religious rights with their own holy book that they have. Nobody brought it. They can't deny the fact. Right? Like this is minus paperwork. Like not going into the court saying, "Oh, I'm putting paperwork in and standing on law and where's your delegation?" You don't even have to go there. Nobody taught us so many different avenues and way to beat this beast system. Right? So Dwight York, right? So we're gonna go to once again Nuwaupian Nation of Moors newsletter, volume 17. December 28, 1997, the true story of Ben York and the Lewis and Clark expedition. There has been so many lies and misinformation written about Ben York, a Malian Moor. So let you know off the top that Ben York's a Moor, right? You know his name's York. You already know. And when you go to Europe, you're going to see the family crests of all the European families or whatever with more heads on the family crest. Like all throughout Europe. So there's two sects of Europeans. There's modern Europeans, what we see today, and we think that they're, the Queen and all those people there. And then there's ancient Europeans, who we're talking about with St. Patrick's, get the snakes out of Ireland and all that, because we really ruled Europe. And then Europe coming from Europa, who's a Moorish queen, and when you research her, like, you're just, this is really what's going on right now, right? Like, this is, right? So, like they're saying, there's been so many lies and misinformation written, right, about Ben York, a Malian Moor, by Euro-Americans, that we, the United Nuwaupian Nation of Moors, have taken it upon ourselves to set the record straight and tell the true story of Ben York, who was one of us during the Lewis and Clark expedition and his life afterwards. Since Ben York is an ancestor of Supreme Grand Master Naya Malachi Zadok York El, we felt it was important for the whole truth to be told about one of our great explorers of this country. Without him, Lewis and Clark would not have successfully made their journey across the continent of North America into the unknown territory west of the Mississippi and past the numerous tribes of natives such as Mandans, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, Yankton, and the Teton Sioux, many of which revered York as a god on their travels. Who are these tribes? The Six Nations is divided into many groups. This includes the Yankton, the Teton. The name Sioux, Sioux, S-I-O-U-X, was given to them by the Ojibwe Chippewa, another tribe of American Indians. Sioux claimed themselves Dakota, which means friends or allies. The present-day Plains states of North and South Dakota, where they came to live, are named after them. Nez Perce comes from French meaning pierced noses. They occupied a large part of the central Idaho and sections of southeastern Washington and northeastern Oregon. The Nez Perce were the largest and most powerful tribe of the Shapwalutan stock of the Nez Perce County, Idaho, and the post village of Nez Perce in Lewis County derived their names. Blackfoot, a closely related confederacy of American Indian tribes of Algonquin linguistic stock, roamed the North Plains region between Upper Missouri and Saskatchewan rivers. The confederacy is also called Blackfeet. The Blackfeet consists of three distinct divisions: the Siksika, or Blackfoot proper, the Kana, or the Bloods, and the Piegan. The entire group is known among its members as the Bloods. Right? Right? The Blackfeet were expert horseback riders, noted buffalo hunters, and fierce warriors. Now, when we talk about the Blackfeet were expert horseback riders, keep in mind of the Moorish Diwan of the continent, who they say were, the term they use is dexterous riders. So they would like, those are mans who ride with no hands or whatever, right? Stand up on the horse, while the horse going that way, they're sitting this way so they could shoot and all that type of stuff, right? That's the level of horse riding, right? And as we know, continental drift and all that, we know that we and them were the same people, one landmass, right? The Blackfeet were expert horseback riders, noted buffalo hunters, and fierce warriors. They were feared by other American Indian groups. So there's a distinction now. You have these people, these ones called Blackfeet, right? Don't forget, Blackfeet is also in relation to Tar Heels in North Carolina, with the logo with the black footprint, right? Everybody likes Michael Jordan and all that, and then nobody's not putting the pieces together, right? Comes back to the same thing. Fierce warriors, right? Michael Jordan he didn't play around on the ball court. And he went to North Carolina, right? They were feared by other American Indian groups and were frequently at war with their neighbors. And in times of war, the three divisions united to defend their land. So even though they had beef going on amongst these tribes, when it was time to defend the land, there was no separation, right? No different than we talk about, using the perfect example with the Sri Lankans when they shut down the Gardner. There was no, we're Christian Sri Lankans and they're Buddhist Sri Lankans, so we're not going to go to the rally. All the religion and groups and whatever out the window. Nationality, order of the day. We're all Sri Lankan right now. Hold up your Sri Lankan flag and let's get to work. Same thing what we're supposed to be doing. I know Nuwaupians and black people and Rastafarians and Nation of Islam, like Moors across the board, right? But if we don't have more on our dial plate, right? If we don't have more on our radar, even though all the teachers, Malachi York saying it throughout the whole thing, and we're Moors. You might say Nuwaupian, Nubian, or whatever, but his name's El.
Where does this term Nuwaupian come? And if Dr. Malachi York, the one who brought it forth, was he doing the Nuwaupian thing before he had more knowledge, or does that come even after? Because if, I can understand if he was being a Nuwaupian before he came into Moorish knowledge, and I don't know what, like I said, I don't even know what the Nuwaupians is. But if he was doing that before, then I can understand why some of them may not want to go into Moore's thing. They want to stay on his original path. But if it's something that he developed with Moore's knowledge, like just, I don't know, trying to get them identity or something.
Yeah, because
So
because
why
also too,
aren't
like,
the rest of them just in line with it?
yeah, and again, it comes back to that same thing with, you know, Nation Islam. There's some brothers in Nation Islam, when we see each other, we say Islam. We're not saying Assalamu alaikum and all that. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Islam, what's good? You know, when we leave each other, Islam. We're not playing around with, group things and all this type of stuff. But if people don't have do their own due diligence to know what's what, if people don't do their part, you know what I mean? Like, just like we're saying, the name of the thing is Nuwaupian Moors. That's what it is. They have a constitution called Nuwaupian Nation of Moors Constitution that everybody has access to in that group, whatever, nation, whatever they want to call it, right? They got Circle 7, right? So, I'm backing you. Like, I want to know what's up. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not anything new. You know what I'm saying?
Nuwaupian could just be like him giving them a tribe name. Like,
exactly.
Washita.
Exactly.
Washita don't say they're not
Moors.
They're Moors and
right.
Washita.
Exactly. Right.
So I can understand if Nuwaupians were like, okay, we just want to have our own tribe.
Our own tribe.
Yes, we're Moors. But we're the Nuwaupian Moors.
Right.
But then you would promote being a Moor.
You would promote being a Moor. You would uphold the Prophet and all that.
Just our tribe. I wouldn't even promote that.
Exactly. Because when you get to, again, when you do your due diligence, right, you realize that you can't claim to be a tribe and get anywhere. The Indians tried that, and look where they're at. They're on a reserve in a little box, claiming that, well, I get, I go to the store and I give my card and I get taxes out. Yeah, well, you live in a box. Like, what kind of benefit is that?
Put them into a mob.
You know what I mean?
The news right now is one of their community needs, but
they're
right on some, like up by the Hudson Bay or whatever, community up there. I can't remember the name of it. Chippewa or something like that. They're under some serious flood right now. Yeah. Which is a yearly thing for them. Right.
Like, it's regular. That's just how they, they get down. Right. It's become natural.
Load up these planes and fly everybody over to the next reserve because ours is going to be flooded for 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that is, directly because of Europeans having the knowledge that that place is gonna flood. Yeah. So we'll put you there. We'll put you there.
Let's end this argument here. You guys can have that part.
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, and again, they didn't do their own diligence. You didn't send out your own surveyors to say, well, you know what, well, based on well, we don't think that this place is really suitable for us to be living because, 4 months out of the year, we can't live here because it's flooded. But just like the Nuwaupians, making claims, saying stuff, and then when you get your ass kicked, or when you get 135 years, now you want to start talking about your morals. When you're sitting in front of the judge and he's about to give you 135, now you want to wear the red fez with nothing on it. Before you're wearing the fez with the stuff on it, tack down tassel, you know what I mean? Your Egyptian headwear and, pyramids in Georgia and all that. And they let you slide for a little bit, but when it's time to go down, you better have your stuff correct. Because these people used to eat babies and stuff. Like they're not playing around. They're not playing. They are very serious. You know what I mean? Still do. Right? Okay? Right? And they make certain claims, right? They make certain claims in all these writings, right? They make certain claims in all these writings, right? Like all of these tribes, just like you're saying, right? All of these tribes are related to us, the Yamasee. Okay, so So are you Yamasee? Or are you Nuwaupian? Or are you Nuban? Or are you Olmec? Or like what? Because more is includes all those. So you could just say more, and they know that you mean Olmec, Nuwaupian, Nigerian, Malian, you know, Hindu, whatever, right? Like they'll know that you mean that, right? You know, they'll know that you mean that, right? So when and like you were saying with the statement of do how long were Nuwaupians really pushing this? Like they know that, but you know if they would get on more knowledge, they'd be up in here, right? Answering those questions to get people's perspective clear about what that is, right? Which is why man he put out his own Circle 7 for Nuwaupians. You know what I mean? You could only get this on eBay if you're lucky right now. Like you're not getting this. You just go to a Nuwaupian store and get this. Like I got this from a man, more in Georgia, who had a bookstore, and when they sold the land, they kicked him. They kicked him out of Georgia because he was talking about Moors and Nuwaupians are Moors or whatever, and they were like, none of that, bro. Beat it. And he was selling all of his books to bring some finance so he could move. Right? Like, and again, he told me, right? Because this was my thing. Try to find all these different connections to Noble Drew Ali through all these people who I studied. You know what I mean? So certain people you could ask questions and they'll just give you stuff. You know, so like the NOI info, you can just talk to more, they'll gladly give that up. Right? Like they have all the records, you know, of the connection between the NOI and the Moorish Science Temple. They'll give that information up, no problem. Right? Garveyite. You have to do a little research, you know, but still the information is there. You know, all you gotta do is you just research Deuce Muhammad Ali, and that'll lead you directly to Marcus Garvey and UNIA and all of that. You know, easy. But when it came to Malachi York, you know, people were zip-lipped about the connection between that.
You can't deny
Right?
that though.
Yeah.
The name is actually showing them where Nuwaupian even came from.
Showing
like,
them
the knowledge.
You don't know where
Showing them.
Nuwaupian came from?
No, we're saying because even you see how it says Nuwaupian. What's it called?
Nuwaupian Nation of Moors.
But it's not that anymore, right? Did
Well,
they change it?
It's that to those who know.
Okay.
You know,
But
I would even say that no one really understands Dr. Malachi York from a much more outside perspective on what he was trying to get at, whether he was able to be mixtures. He basically unite black people in the whole on the concept that everyone's in a common thing, so that
That's
have
what-
to be caught up.
right.
that's how he used to
right.
work. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how he would.
Right.
Right.
So when you mix up more, then we're just trying to show congruence, not rather than different.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. How can they keep their mouth shut now? You know?
Well, it depends. Honestly, I've read most of Malachi York's books.
Yeah.
So like he does mention more, and he does mention like.
But yeah, that's
Right. That's
Malachi York.
I don't honestly, I don't know any books that do more science in depth. To the honest truth, I won't go with it. I'll say more. You know, the information or basic understanding has been presented to me. The amount of books that I have, so I won't state that there's an Hebrew 430 something books.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you have big in his school.
right.
You know, so but honestly, I have a couple of his books.
Yeah.
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 My research background, I mean, sure.
Yeah. Right. And again, that was even part of his mode of operation by not having bibliography in his books, so that the reader could go do your own research. Go do your research. If I say Mandan, the Mandans, what's the Mandan? Logically, if you don't know, you gotta look it up. Or if you don't, yeah, right. It's in black. I mean, everything's in black, but it's bold, right? Bold things for you to go check, because his degree of knowledge is obviously that he knows. But Noble Juali taught, man knows not by being told. So that's like an inside lesson. That's an inside lesson if you study Moorish knowledge, right? Like the written word is really visual, not literal, right? So just like a picture says 1,000 words, right? Big up to Sheik Ron, this Moorish MC, right? He had a track where he said, a picture tells 1,000 words until it's cropped. Right? When you crop a picture, it's not saying 1,000 words no more, because who knows what's missing from the picture, right? But when we look at hieroglyphics are pictorial, right? Words are pictorial because they come from hieroglyphics. It appears to be literal because it's words, but it's really pictures. So man knows not by being told, because you have to see it to believe it.
Not true, because there's something called griot, and everyone knows griot is something that is interactive in teaching, and it's something that we have developed extremely, especially during our personal religion, and that is oral teaching.
Right, and oral has, yeah, but imagination is pictorial. Yeah.
They don't need any actual visual to create an imagination that is on mind.
Yeah, but
it's like being a rapper. Now when a rapper is rapping to you, he's trying to make you imagine what he says. That's what the whole thing is.
Through words. Yeah. Through words. Yeah, it's oral. Visual. Like our tradition naturally is oral. Yeah. Right? But you still have to, even if our tradition is oral, I have to say something to you, and you still have to picture it in your mind to get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Right? Right? So man knows not by being told, because I can tell, just like we were dealing with the brother yesterday, right? We're dealing with the brother and we're talking about, you're not, you're not black. You're really white people. You're not white. How am I white? What are you talking about? I can't be white, whatever, blah, blah. And we're going around, then we're like, you get the dictionary. Bam, got the dictionary, guy read it. Now he got it. Because he read it. You know what I mean? Now it made sense, because he got it for himself. It wasn't somebody telling you something and then you go believe it or whatever, just like bold in the letters. He's telling you, the Mandans are from the Syrian language family, and cool. But until you go read the Mandans, you don't even know what he's talking about. You're just assuming that, well, because he's Dr. York and he said it, then I'm going to run with it because he said it. Because he has stats. When that's not what it's about. It's about studying. You know what I mean? It's about going out and doing your own research. Because every single prophet, teacher, whoever, they tell you that it's not about what I tell you. It's about what you go out there and find to prove my stuff wrong. Prove me wrong. Even when we do classes or whatever, we tell you, yo, don't listen to me. Go take what I said and you go do some research. And you're going to find out some stuff that I never talked about. So make sure you come back, tell me. So now I could go and do some research on what you said, and then now we're broadening the perspective. Just like what you were saying with Malachi York saying that we're Moors, but then saying that we're all these other different things or whatever, for us to have a broader perspective of who we are.
Still people don't understand
Right?
Malachi York on the psychological level.
Yeah, they never will because that's Malachi York. That's him.
You could understand the
You know what I mean?
You just have to understand the first two books.
But again, that's him. Like he even said that the Nuwaupians have to put on their mask of God. Forget my mask of God. You need to put on your own mask of God. And when you put on your mask of God, you're going to see, just like Yahshua said, people are going to come and do greater things than I do. You guys are looking at me like I'm the savior when I'm nobody. You know what I mean? My mom's this, my dad's this, and you know, I studied, I went to this place and that place, I studied, but I don't know nothing.
No, I'm just trying to say
right?
that psychologically, Malachi York's first two books are different.
Which books are those?
DIAG, Bible Certification Definition. And then that's four other books after that, and it's called the Nine Ball. But see, after that, his information is different. I'll say different, but it's not so much as it was pretty regular.
It's not so much as say that again?
His information went for a change later on.
Right.
Because he had with a psychological issue.
Mm. With him? Right.
It wasn't like in a sense psychological. It's the same. It was the same thing that like the noble Elijah Muhammad and the noble Joy, like the symbols. You understand the symbols, like for example the crescent and the star. What's a star? Like science stuff. What's a star? The sun, our sun is what?
Yeah.
A star and the moon is what? The crescent is what? The moon, these are actual galactical things.
Yeah.
Scientifically speaking.
Right. Right.
And they do have influence based on people on the orb of Earth. These are things that moon goes around the sun, the moon goes around the Earth, the Earth goes around the sun.
Yeah. Right.
These are actually, you need moon for the wave, or moon has influence on the tidal wave, or the sun has influence on many things on the whole entire. If we didn't have sun, we wouldn't be melanite beings.
Yeah. Right.
So like that's when you look at actual why you can star. I mean, what makes one star with 5 points and one with 6, like for origin, and that was not how you're trying to get at. Even if you read his later stuff, talk about the origin of things and where it starts and where it comes from. That's what always talks about where it's deriving from. That's what that.
Right.
Etymology.
Yeah, and that's why, yeah.
But, and same thing with other teachers in the past. They try to get us to know the same thing. You understand that forces that drove them in that sense. And even though they're trying to get knowledge out, they're also being confused by the forces because the forces will give them such great inspiration. When the time comes, the forces are gone.
Yeah, but the forces leave because you're supposed to study to have that to get it. Because when it's like you got math teacher. When they put the test in front of you, it's because it's time for you to get the hell out of here. They're not putting the test in front of you just because, you know, I'm a teacher and it's my job to give you a test. Like they led you to that point for you to take that test, for you to pass it, not for you to fail and then repeat grade 9 5 times or whatever. You're supposed to do that. It's supposed to be done. And then that influence is supposed to be out your life. You don't need them no more because you're qualified now. And then you go to that next level where you get that next teacher, right? You move up in your degrees. You know, but just like you're saying, what society has done is use that ladder in the negative.
Not necessarily. Society hasn't done nothing. Everyone knows it's Caucasian. You gotta start like it's Caucasians, man. It's just straight up Caucasians. You don't even gotta like put this whole extra. It's just straight Caucasian. I'm not saying that, and don't get me wrong, you don't identify it instantly because they're the ones that
But where they get it from?
But we can get it from the fact that is that they have it.
Yeah, but
setting out to go get it and they got it.
yeah, but where they get it? Because it comes back to the same thing you're saying. What's the origin? What's the origin of things?
Okay, let's go back.
You know what I mean? What's the origin of things?
Islam. Even today, I tell you, I just did a job at a company. The owner of a company, hold on, the owner of a company is like quote unquote a black man, right? His company builds shit for the army, for the U.S. and NASA and stuff like that. Like when say he gets a contract from the U.S. Army, and they'll tell him because this is like something top secret they're working on. They'll be like, "This company employs all nationalities, like all different people live there. I walk through, I see all sorts of people." He'd be like, "No Chinese can work on this. No Russians can be on this. No Indians can be on this." He just wants like just Caucasians or whatever. Like that's what the contract will state. Like, but this is like you say, they have the technology, but this guy created the technology. Like his business is big billionaire business. Yeah.
So you think he's black and supporting what?
It's not that he's supporting it. It's that he made the technology and they're using it. Like they're buying it from it.
If Africans or
if he was over, he's here though. So I don't know.
If I wanted
He's not.
his technology was like go get it.
Yeah, you can make a contract with his company makes like other say Air Canada has contracts, Air America, Persian Air.
That means you gotta get on a tip.
No, but I'm just saying, what I'm showing you that you're saying they have the technology, but it's like it's still coming from us. Like we're the ones who made. He's that man.
It's just like it's like this. It's like this, right? We're gonna blame the European, right, for causing whatever they cause on the planet, right? We're gonna say that they're the ones that did it, right? They're the ones that are. Yeah, but who made the European? Well, you need to get on some more science to find out where Europeans came from.
But even if we ever had their own type of science, we did not. I have my own science.
Yeah, but
you can't do that. If somebody makes something, somebody can front, but then now you say that everybody else has their own type of science, then that's a contradiction. That's basically saying that we have our stuff and they have their stuff.
Yeah, and they don't have any.
Right? So you said, okay, but then you just said that everybody has their own type of science. If everybody has their own type of science, then we have our stuff, they have their stuff. Where did they get their stuff from?
Right.
Because where did their history start? Okay.
And who's the Hindus?
Who's the Hindus?
The Hindus are.
Okay, so they
alright. So they learn from us. So that's us.
But where's Asian?
But they don't have kinky hair like this.
Where's Asian?
Islam. No, that's just pass around.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Alright, okay, hold on.
No, but where's Asia?
I can't read this stuff now.
Yeah, no, don't.
Where is it? Where is Asia? Where is Asia?
It's a continent.
Okay. Where is Europe, for instance? Is Europe a continent?
They're their own separate landmass. That's what the continent is.
I don't know. Europeans inhabited or Caucasians have inhabited that location. They want an argument on whether Europe is an actual continent.
No, I'm not asking that. I'm asking you, where is Asia?
Asia is east from here.
Okay. Europe is part of Asia.
That's Asia North.
So there you go. So that European
Okay. So who's Asiatic?
One. What did Big Daddy Kane say?
We're Asiatic.
Okay, let's break it down. Let's break it down like this. Let's break it down like this.
So where the name African or Africa derived from? You know, the geography. Or where the Greek comes from.
But Africa still has to do it taking her teeth. That's having to do teeth.
No, how? Okay. Let me put this in your ear.
Africa's a Nubian.
Let me put this in your ear. Make sure.
Africa is just so I can give you an understanding of what I'm talking about.
make sure, make sure, make sure, right, make sure that you leave with a copy of the Circle 7. The Circle 7 Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. Because if you're learning, right? If you're about getting degrees of knowledge or whatever, there should be nothing that's excluded. Everything should be right.
But what I do know,
Oh yeah.
I'm not a don't make me up with a Nuwaupian.
You know what I mean?
No.
But that's what today's about. Today's about Nuwaupian and Moors. So we're gonna use all of Malachi York's references, right? Because you said Asiatics, right?
Asiatic. So in terms of Asiatic, who's the real Asiatic?
Right.
Then you said then we got it from. You said they got it from Hindus. Where did the Hindus get it from? Who are the real Hindus?
Hindu people are a type of people who live in the region of southern Asia, or people who are directly to
But who are the real Hindus? Who was there before Hindustan was there?
You ever heard?
African people have traveled around the whole
Okay, exactly.
We haven't even time.
Exactly. So that's where I'm coming from.
Genes and bloodline and descendants.
But that is where I'm coming from in terms of the.
I know scientific.
Yeah, but that's where I'm coming from in terms of information. So if we traveled and we traveled the whole planet, where did everybody get their information from? Ultimately, it comes from us. Yeah, ultimately it comes from us because we traverse the whole planet. So that's where I'm coming from in terms of where Asia is, where Africa is, where North and South America is. We traverse the whole planet.
We want to call it our Chevy line or Africa.
Okay, but we still traverse the whole planet.
How about if we call the planet Asia?
Because the world was once called Asia.
Yeah. So if today,
I know about that.
They teach you that in European
Pangea is European.
At the end of the day, I don't know about calling no Earth, no Asia.
Yeah, because man knows not by being told. Because man knows not by being told. Man knows by going out and doing research.
I remember that from like elementary school. That when they teach you about old Greek mythology and stuff like that,
so why would they call it Asia? The whole planet
Earth is called Asia. So if people today, if this is Earth and you're called an Earthling, then if it was called,
take out the R.
but if it was called Asia now, then what would you be called? Because a Martian said he's from Mars. The Earthling said he's from Earth. So if the planet is Asia, then what are the people called?
What is the etymology of the word Asia?
No, but see, like, right, like, it's not about answering questions with questions. That's how we deal with the Europeans. When we deal with ourselves, we answer questions. If we have answers, and if we don't have answers, we say, well, I don't know. Put me onto something.
Because I'm trying to understand
right?
that knowing based on origin, you're talking about the planet Earth. Earth consists of land and water.
Yeah, but it also consists of air and fire.
Those are all four other elements.
But which create Earth? Which create Earth? Earth. There's volcanoes on Earth that spit fire. So fire is also one of those elements, along with air and earth and water.
If you want to be scientific and you go to the Big Bang, isn't that going to deal with fire? Creation. We're talking science. That's all the scientific stuff. I'm saying that the science talks about the Big Bang.
Right? So, Dr. York, right?
Hold on.
Yeah.
When you said it's we've inhabited all over the planet, right? You mentioned ways that we inhabited. You never said physically in any of those ways. So do you mean that? Or no, you said we inhabit the land has physically, but those people who are inhabiting those landmasses now that where we were, they're not, it's not from DNA or genes, you're saying? Why there's a connection to what? Okay, so where did, like you said, when Cujo said European crazy, so you don't know about that, so you must not know where these people came from either.
I know the fact that they came from it, don't say that they're not created as
So how did all these other, when we inhabited,
created, yes, to a form of creation.
I'm trying to learn, so I just feel like you're trying to learn, so I want to pick your brain right now. When we inhabited this land, the landmass called Earth, whatever you want to call it, okay, and then we left certain places and then we ended up only in Africa, right? No?
No, we have not watched things on the streets. Black people are around the world. There's still our team people.
Okay, so then when these people, these other nationalities, cultures, races, whatever you want to call them, when they came about, how did they come about when we were still inhabiting the rest of the planet? Where did this come from? I'm asking.
Okay. Now, Mother Earth has two creations, primary creation and secondary creation. Primary creation started from a million years ago. Was the African or Africoid, which is, for lack of a better term, or those that really compete there for the primary being. That's why it's scientific speaking. Early form of human, I don't say man, human, but as in human pigment, but I'll get to the mankind part, but human,
Okay, don't mean to cut you, but
humanoid,
to get someone to understand it, instead of since you don't have a better term, you could say like people of high concentration of melanin, right?
Yes.
That's
people high concentration.
around the whole thing, right? High concentration of melanin, right? Okay.
We're pigmented or pygmy, for lack of a better term, the short dwarf like these are very different people. Because the size, the darkness, and the shape is even known to be underground bases in Africa, like little structures that are only like say 4 foot, maybe 5 foot, like 3 foot. But these are, and if you know about ancient Egypt, they got their knowledge from the Twa people and their short or like people. Yeah. And then you have evolutionary Africoid. The taller is much more due to changes happening in secondary creation. Sometimes I could draw this out if I had paper. I could visually show these things. Unfortunately, I couldn't fit anything in my little bag. But I thought I called it mankind during the first primary creation comes out of the Mother Earth tomb located by the creator in the equator by Lake Virginia, Victoria, in Africa. That's Mother Earth's fortune located. That's what she pushed up to God.
Okay, so let me ask this question. In that creation period, right, was there an Atlantic Ocean and a Pacific Ocean? Impossible. It's impossible that there was oceans at that time because the creation aspect deals with the continent being one landmass. For millions of years.
Water. There's water. There has to be water.
The water's running through. The water's running through. The water's running through. Yeah, but also, yeah, but
he's trying to say to you though, he asked you if there was a Pacific and an Atlantic, two separate. But if it's one landmass, it can't be two separate. It's one whole. Huh?
He said back then there was
one landmass.
You said
yeah.
You said the Europeans call it Pangea.
But what I know is there's still water.
Yeah, but
in the beginning.
Water.
I know that there's water.
Water after the beginning.
I'm not denying that there was water.
After there was an Atlantic and a Pacific Ocean. Those are two separate oceans.
The Atlantic Ocean is called Atlantic Ocean because of the open sea. older time. It probably wasn't even called the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. They talked about before that.
I'm just saying that there's water. I'm saying that there's water.
Sure,
on
there's
Right?
land.
Okay, yeah,
Whether-
most
whether
definitely
it's
there was
the
water.
Atlantic or you want to call it a Pacific Ocean, I'm just saying there's water, period.
Yeah, but but again, if we're gonna deal with evolution and whatever, right? Then we have to,
It's just one cycle out of many cycles in nature.
if we are gonna deal with the earth plane, right? If we're gonna deal with the earth plane and we're gonna talk about different races or beings, high concentrations of melanin, low concentrations of melanin, straight hair, woolly hair, and all that. Ultimately, all those people are us. There's not a separation, right? We, because of our studying from the Europeans, right? Opposed to studying from the master teachers that were sent to us, we have misconceptions about everything. Just like you're saying, it's about going back to the origin of things. So if we're going to go back to the origin of things, we have to understand that the Mississippi River and the Nile River, they both go in the same direction. But they're supposed to be on two different sides in two different continents. There's two rivers that go south to north, and those were never connected at one time. They had to have been connected at one time.
And they both have the same significance.
Right?
Same pyramids on both sides.
Right? Pyramids on both sides. There's places over here called Egypt. Not just over there. You know what I mean? Right? So when and again, there's nothing, you haven't said nothing wrong yet. That's why we're sitting back, taking in the class. Because you're not saying nothing wrong. But there's a track record of information that has been destroyed that you're not going to get from going out there and studying. There's information that has been destroyed, right? That you're not going to get from out there studying, from just, going to the library, reading books, dealing with people. You have to go to master teachers to get certain information. And that's why I was saying Malachi York, right? When we were talking about Asiatics, right? We're going to go Malachi York, his copy of the Circle 7, right? Which is also in the Holy Tablet, so everybody knows that it's legit if he's going to put it in his books, right? Like we know how Dr. York gets it out. He doesn't push crap. He's going to talk about the facts or what he calls right knowledge, right? And that's all he's pushing. So if he put out a book that Noble Ali put out in 1913 and he put that out in 1997, obviously there must be some keys in that book that we need to extract from that, right? So in regard to Asiatics, right? Chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. The divine origin, not the physical origin or the mental origin or the divine origin.
This is just whoever it is, this is just how to bring it back into full circle of us discussing pretty much. I can kind of tell who put us in this position, and the brother said the Caucasian, then we went on from there, right? And then I think the point that's trying to be made is that we are at the top of that totem pole, or we are the root of that tree that created the rest, the offspring that we see here now. And then you mentioned that the Caucasian came from the Hindu, right? But who did the Hindu come from, right? And then there's still Hindu push people, and that's the thing. Like sometimes it's like the girl she's saying, the information that we're presented with or that we're only allowed to have is all we get to draw our conclusions. And sometimes there's parts that are missing because there's people who are Hindu and we think Hindu just looks like the conventional what we think is Indian or East Indian or whatever Pakistani Indian person, but the Hindu people who have higher concentration of none than people who are sitting in this room right now, right? and teachers just as strong as us too.
Well, you don't have to believe in like that.
Well, yeah, yeah, they do.
Even the Africans,
They do.
No, they're not African. Because these are terms too. Like you're talking about etymology and the root of words.
Meaning
It has to do with that too.
if they have those features.
No, but what's the continent? The continent, if you're going to
The
talk about
continent is the
the
world.
continent is the whole planet. And that was just part of it. And now there's just a part or this idea that what we call Africa is the only part that created the offspring and there was no high science or high civilization or the same type of culture going on in the rest of the parts of the world as well. It all happened in unison. So what was going on in what we want to call India or Indonesia, Indo-Kush, like those certain parts of Asia where we want to call Indian, Pakistani people, whatever, that was our people doing the same thing that were going on in what we want to call Ethiopia, Egypt, or whatever today. And that was called the same thing. That was called Egypt, Ethiopia, those parts of the earth.
But time progresses, things have changed. It won't. Certain things will work the same as it did back then.
Yeah, principles.
Definitely.
But principles don't change. Principles go on forever. So the principle that we're the top of the totem pole and that everybody came from us, that's standard across the planet. Everybody knows that. That's why when you go talk to some of these Asian people out here and you go ask them about the Mauryan dynasty, who are Hindus. Who are Hindus? They're Hindus, straight hair people, right? And they'll tell you that they came from the Mauryan dynasty, which is dark-skinned people with kinky hair, big lips, big noses, dark skin. And they honor those people. Go ask a Hindu person about Kali. They're going to show you a black lady. They'll say that that's their god. And she's dark skinned with afro, braids and all that. Braids down to her back, dreadlocks. And they're not denying her.
The ones that you could just look at and know that they're more, they strip those people of their culture, which is everything that we see that we think is everybody else's culture. Us is what we gave them. And because the plan was to keep us in a position from regaining our nationality and birthright, us specifically, one that you don't have to go research to find out, okay, is this a quote unquote black person? No, you already know. Or if it was an African, no, you know because of what they look like. Or a descendant of African, no, okay, you know because of what they look like. Those people, they've been stripped. Everybody else, especially the ones in America, North America, stripped. Possibly Europe too, certain parts of the UK or whatnot. Stripped. And it's starting to do it to the rest of the continent now because now you have, the rest of the planet. Because now you have everybody starting around the world before they were whatever they were. Now, when you look at them, they're commonly being called black person, or this is a black person. So it was an idea. So we have left and lost our culture and given it to people and think what we see is not ours. And we've given the Caucasian, or whatever you call them, European, the Albion, white man, we've given them too much power because we're assuming, like you said, that they're controlling stuff. Or they have all this technology, they have all this sophistication that they're using to control us. But like when the brother said, if we taught them, those are our sciences that they're using against us. So therefore, they only just came into whatever knowledge they have a couple hundred years ago. They're still learning how to do things.
I don't know.
We just forgot. We just forgot how to do what we've taught them how to do and more. You don't know about that. Why? I heard you say that like 4 times, but I want to hear why. What's your opinion or perspective on why you think that's not the way it is?
Yeah, like Caucasians did rob, but like they didn't rob things directly from us. They robbed the Phoenicians.
Who's the Phoenicians? The Phoenicians are us.
Who are the Phoenicians?
The Phoenicians are dark-skinned people.
With straight hair.
They're dark-skinned people.
After though,
Like that's late.
They're mankind.
But how? They're not. There's.
They're kind of man.
If you.
So when I say we were everywhere and we were everything, you don't agree with that then?
We are everything in the sense of nature, all in all.
No, like we are everything. There's people.
Yeah, in a sense, we're everything.
No, it's not in a sense. We
not
are everything.
But like genetically, by blood and origin and where we came from.
Okay.
We're not from them.
Right? Chapter 45.
No, we're not.
Right?
You're right. We're not from them. They're from us.
They're from us.
They're not even from us.
Right?
They're from the same planet as us, but they're not from us.
Right?
Rashi, finish them off now.
The divine origin of the Asiatic nation. Right? This is not what I say. This is information across the planet that everybody knows. This is not like we have to prove our position. This is what everybody knows. You just go ask them, and they'll tell you everything that we're going to talk about right now. And the reason why I know that, because that's how I get outside information. I go talk to Hindus and Filipino people and Asians and Europeans, people who people call faggot and Batiman. I talk to those guys, and those guys have some books up in their library at their house telling you about your culture that you don't even freaking know because you have this mentality like, and our people in general have this mentality like, well, because they do whatever behind closed doors, they don't got no knowledge. They got more knowledge than majority of these people out here who claim to be conscious. Those people who claim to know themselves.
Depends on who you bring into maybe to the average house N-word, but you couldn't bring a Hindu to me. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, but again, right? Again, it has to do with do you have a mind like a sponge or do you have a mind like a stone? If you have a mind like a stone, you're done for. Because if you have a mind like a stone, that means your pineal gland's calcified. That means that when you go and you sleep at night, you're not having lucid dreams. All your dreams are in black and white. You don't dream in color. You can't fly in your dreams. You can't do anything that you used to do in ancient times. That's documented fact. European will tell you that because they do more studying on melanin than anybody else on the planet. To the point where they have books, $6,000 books. Go check it out online. They have $6,000 books of them studying melanin that we don't buy. Right? That we don't buy.
No matter how much they'll try, they'll never obtain.
Yeah, but
synthetic, and then it'll probably be anti to they're called melanoma skin cancer.
Yeah, but melanoma skin cancer has to do with them not having melanin and burning from the sun.
But them even doing it synthetically.
Yeah, but our own people get melanoma. Research that. Research how many dark-skinned people get melanoma. Not only Europeans get melanoma.
Melanin is not only a thing that you see, it's a consciousness too.
It's an active living thing.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right? Why you think that they don't push? Why you think they don't push? They stopped pushing Venom and they push Spider-Man. Right? Venom has galactic powers. It's melanin from the universe.
Superman is the same thing with the whole concept of the sun.
Exactly.
Yeah, the whole
right?
Superman's black man.
Exactly. Right? What's Superman's name? Kal-El. Superman's name's Kal-El. That's his real name. Kal-El. And El is a Moorish name. Yeah. El is a Moorish name. That's what El is. Yeah, El. Just like Elohim. Just like Elohim, Eloah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
They
still
all,
not
they
Africa.
all relate, brother.
They all
That's
relate.
why you say it's
Right.
Hebrew.
Would you just
Really
Arabic
and Latin.
Right? Oh yeah. For the about I think like 6, 7, 8 times. Chapter 45.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate. The first lesson. You need to learn to love instead of hate. Why? Because we're the ones causing all this destruction on the planet, not the Europeans.
Really?
Really. Because we hate more than anybody else out here.
Really?
Yeah, really. I don't see Europeans shooting each other. I don't see Europeans
But that has
killing
nothing
each other
to do
over
with them
sneakers.
sacrificing us.
They didn't
They do
sacrifice
rituals
us.
all the time.
Yeah.
You know they did in Haiti? That they caused that so that they can just go in there and just get some blood.
No, they didn't.
That was just,
No, they didn't. They did that because Haitians don't want to be Moors. Like Toussaint Louverture told their asses to be Moors. They have a
so if
they have a
became
fez.
Moors, then
They have a
that
fez
was
on their flag. They have one of these on their flag. That's why European was able to go over there and do what they did to them because they don't want to be their self. They want to claim to be Haitians when they're not Haitians. When they're not Haitians, they know that concept. Toussaint Louverture taught them that they're Moors. He was wearing an admiral uniform. Why is he wearing an admiral uniform? Because the Moors were the first navigators. And he knew who he was. And everybody's going to tell me that. They know about Toussaint Louverture. But when you say, oh yeah, Moors, everybody has, blank mind. When he's dressing like Moors, right? So we need to learn to love instead of hate, right? Second lesson. And to know of their higher self and lower self. So not only do we need to learn to love instead of hate, we need to know about our higher self and our lower self. That's a metaphysical, high science, from the tombs of Kemet, Egypt, whatever you want to call it, lesson. Know about your higher lower self. How do we know that's a lesson of Kemet? Because when you look at the Sphinx, it has a human head with an animal body. Animal body representing the lower self, human head representing the higher self. In Kemet, so-called Egypt, which is also Ethiopia, which is also Kush, which is also Sumeria, which is also Phoenicia, which is us. Documented fact that you can go ask people from there. Forget about we can't talk to those people because Ethiopians have straight hair too. Ethiopians are born with straight hair, and they don't claim that they're not Kushite and they're not African. They claim that's their lineage, right? This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The keys to civilization were and are in the hands of the Asiatic nations, which means us. The keys to civilization is in our hands. But if we hate instead of love, we're going to push away people that are actually coming to assist us in reclaiming this vast estate called Earth that we lost hold of. Because we want to be black, which is a 5th century word that means pale. The origin of black means pale. Right? Okay. Right? You want to be African, which comes from Scipio Africanus, Roman general.
I don't know about that.
That's what it is.
There's many etymologies for the whole continent of Africa.
Yeah, okay, it comes from Afri.
And then you have the ancient Egyptian term.
There's no, stop right there. Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there because Egyptian is a modern term. So there's no such thing as ancient Egyptian.
I'm talking as in the time.
But that's why we deal with more science because we don't play with calling stuff based on assumption. You call it for what it
It's not
is.
really an assumption. It's
That's
just where I get that words are not literal.
yeah,
When I say it's
yeah,
ancient
but
Egypt,
yeah, but when you say yeah, no, when you say ancient Egypt, in my mind, I'm seeing Europeans because Egypt comes from Greeks.
Yeah.
you should just think Egypt because it's in Africa and you should think black.
Egypt's not in Africa. Egypt's in America.
Remember back to that one land that
But then America's called America.
America's called America because America is AME of Amexem and RICA of Africa. That's how you get America because America is Africa. And over there is Asia.
So you're telling me this region that we're living in is Africa?
Yeah. You know how? You know how? Right? Right?
No, I'm not.
Right?
This is something new. I got
Right?
like
Yeah, you have
in my brain.
no, for real.
Think for a little bit.
Because
Let's digest
exactly,
something new.
right?
It's something new. I might even have to put this down in my notes.
Again, right?
Serious.
Because again,
research this right now.
because again,
This is
right?
new. This is new.
Again, hear what you have to hear. You have to
I'm
you
not
have to
disrespecting. I'm taking it serious.
right.
It's not.
oh
Right. To hear, right? America or the Americas is North America, Central America, and South America. It's all called the Americas, right? So why is over here all called the Americas, but when we go over there, it's called Europe, Africa, Asia, and when all that's one landmass over there too, just like here. And everybody knows over there is called Asia.
they call it India, but they'll also call it Sub-Asia. So which one is it?
Right? It's a documented fact, right? The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca, right? The Egyptians, who were the Hamites, of a direct descendant of Mizraim, the Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese, Chinese, Hindus of India, descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites and Moabites from the land of Canaan, Asiatic nations and countries in North, South, Central America, Moorish Americans, Mexicans, Brazilians, Argentinians, Chileans, in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, San Salvador, all these are Muslims. All these are Muslims. That's why when Columbus came here, there was a mosque on a hill and they were speaking Arabic. Because the first religion on the planet is the reverence of the universe. That's why we have that star and then a moon, because really and truly that means cosmos, not Muslims or Islam. Why are you going to use the symbol of a star of the moon and say that's a religion when there's stars and moons outside of this atmosphere? Find any other religion that uses symbols from outside of this atmosphere to represent its religion.
A lot of them do.
Name one. I said name me a religion. Other than Islam that has a symbol. What's the Hebrew? What's the Hebrew? What's the Hebrew? All right. That's Muslim. Hebrews are Muslim.
But then they wouldn't be called Hebrew.
Hebrew's a language.
Then they wouldn't be called Jews. Or Jews comes, there's no day in the Hebrew.
All right. So they're Muslims. That's why they're using. That's why they're using a. They don't worship Allah. They worship Yahweh. Yahweh is Allah.
But they have a whole pantheon of deities.
It depends also on what your definition of a Muslim is too. If it's the MUS conventional definition, meaning, or the MOSLEM, which is what we call ourselves. If you go in the dictionary, go on the internet and look up Look up, put up the word muscleman. Put up the word muscle and muscleman, and then you'll see the word Muslim come up. Because it's not, being a Muslim is not just what you are. It's your muscle and tissue, the DNA makeup, your genetic buildup. So that's what being a Muslim is. Everybody on the planet is a Muslim when you're a living fetus. Right? So it has to do with muscle and tissue. It has been converted into, oh, it's a Islamic practice. If you're a Muslim, then you practice Islam. That's the modern day. But that's not the original meaning of it. So that's maybe why you're seeing a discrepancy as well as saying when you say that all these people are Muslim, but not Muslim in the sense of Muslim in the sense of 5 times a day praying or Sunni Muslim or Shia Muslim.
Right, just like the statement that you made. Well, the Hebrews, they have the 6-point star. Right? The Hebrews have the 6-point star, right? Okay. Hex alpha. The dual trine is a geometric representation of the Moabite Moorish fez. So the hex alpha, the 6-point star, is a geometric representation of this headwear right here. So even Hebrews are Moors, even though they claim to be a language. And they're running around. That's why Malachi York put out the book about 360 questions to ask a Christian. And in the end of it, he said, take these lessons and go school your Hebrew brothers and sisters. Because he was making a statement to them that you guys are using King James Version of the Bible as your reference. You're using Torah. You're using all these so-called holy books when you don't even know where that came from. We have like serious catching up to do. We're so far behind as a people. We're so far behind as a people that people, just like Brother Yasin saying, they're taking our stuff that we dash to the side because we think, oh well, that's Hindu stuff, and we're not Hindu, so we have nothing to do with that. When they're using that stuff and they're ruling the planet, whoever,
but then they're after the same.
Anybody, everybody.
And in the last cycle.
Like for example, you have if you go research Shaolin monks, right? When you research Shaolin monks, you'll find out that the dark-skinned monks are the ones that are most studious. That those are the ones that they want to get up into schools. Those are the ones that they're taking around the world when they do Shaolin monks, go around the world and show people our mastery of Shaolin martial arts. It's the dark-skinned ones that they're taking. They're not taking the light-skinned ones to go around the world. Just go look it up online. They talk about it. It's not something that they don't talk about. Okay? So, but they're straight hair and pale skin. The teachers, why are they not taking the straight hair monks then? Why are they taking the dark skinned monks to go around the planet to go expose Shaolin monks? Because they have to go back to the origin. They have to use the foundation in order to get people to recognize that, okay, they're still using the same ancient culture. That's why when you go to the walls of Kemet, they're going to show you martial arts symbology, martial arts hieroglyphics, right? Called what? Zoomorphics. Because the animals is how we learn how to defend ourselves. They even show you in the martial arts movie, man sitting there watching a praying mantis eat a fly and said, yo, that's a good style. We can practice that. And man learn praying mantis.
And boom, let me make a point too, like, and this is talking about martial arts, like what he's saying, how they're, the lighter or the pale face instructors, teachers, or masters are bringing the light or the darker students. It's like in a martial arts movie, when someone comes to challenge the school now, right? And the martial arts master that we're talking about, who's bringing us, he's really the student, right? And we were really the teachers because we taught them, even though we forgot. So in the movie now, the student is going to come try to represent the school when someone comes to challenge for the master, right? That master might not even be better than the student anymore because of age or whatnot. But the concepts and the principles of what he taught is why the student was able to excel and become greater, or the concept is why that student is going to defend the master to the fullest, even though his master can't win the fight no more. He's going to defend the school, the principle, the honor, because he knows what it stands for and he knows what it's about. So that's what these Europeans are doing when they bring us and not the lighter ones or whatnot. They know that we were the ones who taught them this knowledge. So regardless if we're not the ones who are in the head or the seat, they still have to pay homage and they still have to honor the tradition or the foundation or the concept of it. Without being in the seat is just also part of their practice. Like Obama being president. Right. Like they go on like, a black man can never be president. But even if you can be the master or whatever, they'll choose the second guy. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just because you're the more and because of what they're trying to hold up, they can't put him back in the top seat. So they'll choose even a guy who's lesser skilled just because he's the next non-more or top seat, whatever it may be, right? And still make him be the man. But in the same token, if a man comes to test the school, it ain't gonna be it's gonna be the top guy that gotta step up. And that's the same thing like we were talking about with government and heads of state or whatever, like the polarity switching, they are having to bring back the more into the places of power because the representation needs to change. Because now what's happening is that everybody's hating the image that they've been seeing all along. So now they have to put a next,
As in the changes in Obama.
Bringing Obama face to make things look a little different. Thinking that maybe things could get done now with this person as a puppet because we can't do it anymore. And in the same token as using them, we're trying to preserve ourselves and honor our contracts and treaties that we took from before too, because it's really that these people are really supposed to be empowered. And we haven't been making them empowered. We're supposed to be sharing power with them. And we haven't, so let's do it now so that we can start changing our karma.
Making amends and agreeing. So you know that the Caucasian will share power with that.
See, and now I want to get that point too. We have to stop as a whole, like when we use these words, it's not a physical thing we're talking about. If we're saying Caucasian, then it can't be like someone who we think looks like a pale face or whatever. It has to be an idea we're talking about. But that's what it is. It's concepts and ideas that these people are dealing with. Because it's our own people. Some of our own people are treating us worse than these people. So it's not what they look like. Okay, if it's the Caucasian people are doing this to us, yeah, it's a Caucasian ideology, Caucasian mentality, Caucasian way of thinking.
But you don't look at it when you look at when you're looking at someone of your own. But if they're not of your own, then that's just the nature of straight up.
Yeah, exactly. But still, there's enough of our people who are of that nature. Because then, what about the quote unquote Caucasian who comes in and he's for you, he's just for you, and then you're just waiting to say, one day he's gonna friggin' one day his true nature's gonna come on, he's gonna stab me in my back. But then he's been loyal to you for 20 years, but then there's a brother who spit on you.
Well,
but he's more of your brother because he looks like you?
Just because he's your brother, obviously, if he's obviously doing you wrong, you don't deal with him. If the Caucasian wants to deal with you right.
So it's not about what you look like then, right? It's about the energy you're coming
from. Use him to the end. Use him to however you want to use him to make sure you don't get back to, or you don't feel, maybe I could be. Don't get so comfortable because you can say you never know, but not even you never know. Just don't get so comfortable, period, because historically it don't matter.
Okay.
Because the father has fallen down to the son.
On every level,
You have been condemned to your punishment. Doesn't matter how nice you can be now, doesn't matter how you can be useful, but that's so I could use whatever you can give me to put you back where you're supposed to be. So you're just helping your faith.
yeah, but when you
might as well be 100%
yeah, but when you
satanic.
but when we talk about even where we are, when we talk about where we are with this information that we have right now, right? Majority of people putting out the information is European. It's not our own.
For the conference information,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
How about
yeah.
I get my
Moorish knowledge.
Yeah.
from an academic.
Moorish
Yeah,
knowledge.
but-
And
we're
it
talking
has
about.
never been no European.
Yeah,
information,
okay,
so that
but
I
again,
have to go off in the sense
but
of
again,
the field.
Not
right?
saying that
You're
it's
saying
their own.
you're
It's things
they're just
that
presenting-
they're
yeah,
presenting it.
presenting it.
It's their school that he went to.
Why do they have to?
Because at the end of the day, they still can't totally. It's like a 7 to 2% ratio. As evil as they can be, they're like, for example, they can't totally get rid of everything because they need everything. They still need to make sure that their generation, if some of them do pick up, able to pick up the knowledge, and the same keeping knowledge in books. The European puts knowledge in books so that we don't.
Right? Right? But again, right? Like we're saying,
So they still, even as much as they burn, yeah, they can probably burn some stuff that help us advance faster, but they still need to keep certain information in place, regardless.
yeah, but they're not keeping that information in place because they have some motive of trying to take over the planet. They know that this is our planet. Don't forget, we taught them. When we talk, when like it's like when people say, "Oh, Masons, they are whatever." Like those guys
Yeah, but
know.
the origin still has to come out of that.
Those guys know that we taught them, right? They know that. That's why they wear a fez. That's why all their thing have Arabic names and all that.
I'll tell you this,
Right?
regardless of what we do that is similar to them, it will never work. We have
It's
to
not-
come up and create our own. We have to
We
match
have our.
anything
That's the
more.
problem. We have our own already. Our own is what they're using against us.
We shouldn't, but we should just say, okay, fine, keep it. We'll just create.
We don't have no. What? That's counterproductive.
Why would that be counterproductive? Why would
Because
that be
that's
counterproductive?
ours. That's like
Abandoning our mom. We are.
That's
we are
like-
who we are.
that's like
We're descendants. We don't need it no
We
more.
are.
We can just create something new.
It's like
We
this.
can create our own.
Sometimes I think like, yeah, why don't we all
Let them
just
have
say,
it.
why don't we just
Let
like,
them
right,
have it.
show Toronto. Why don't all us Moors pack up and walk out into the bush and build a new city? Then I think back, well, why the hell would we do that? This is our city. Why don't we just get back into the position where we're supposed to be and run the city, bring it back?
Like,
You know what I'm saying?
Your house.
Would you pack up? Would you,
And
if all your folks say,
I-
yeah, let's go off in the bush
They'll
and
always
build a
find a
new
way.
society. Are you down?
They'll always find a way to penetrate.
But
to
then we're
use their
backwards, right?
program to do. It's the best thing to do is whatever they touch, whatever they infected, whatever their seed has, whatever that they even put their foot on, they could smell the aura has even been close to.
they don't even have aura.
Done. It's like done. You don't need it no more.
They don't even have
We'll
aura.
just come together again and we'll just make something else.
Yeah, but
We
again,
have that
right?
capability.
But again, yeah, we have that capability, right? But what are we gonna do? We're gonna come together as these guys saying they're black, these guys saying they're Negro,
No,
these
we
guys
have to
over
just
here
get rid of
saying they're.
everything and just start fresh.
But
Like,
what's
who
what's
have Willie
but what's
here?
but what's starting fresh? If we're the origin, if we're the freshest that there is, right?
You're talking historically as in at the beginning.
History is right now.
Well, we can just.
I'm
get rid of
talking
everything
ancient.
and start over again.
I'm talking ancient and modern.
Modern, everyone knows that modern has to do with destroying or destruction. And Yakabe.
That's in their eyes.
Modern has to do with the Caucasian ruling over any ethnic person, period. Modern to make sure that everything is full. Modern
That's
so that
why.
we forget about a certain type of liberty.
That's why the only person, the only individual that came and told you return to your ancient foremothers and forefathers state of mind is Noble Drew Ali. We don't have to start nothing over. We just have to think like our ancient foremothers and forefathers again. Once we think like our ancient foremothers and forefathers again, the universe will work back in our favor.
I'm in my head, I'm like, so where's it at? That's what I'm saying.
Where's what at?
So where's the ancient former way of thinking?
It's in more science. That's why we're supposed to study more science. That's why we're supposed to go back to the ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's why the name of the class was to tell people about Moors, through what Malachi York taught, because he was telling them, go back to your ancient foremothers and forefathers. And Elijah Muhammad was telling the NOI, go back to your ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's why they have the problem book and the supreme lesson talking about the world is 80 billion years old.
I'm telling you honest truth, where I'm from, if you go back home where I'm from, which is Kumasi, and you speak something like this, it might probably spark interest in a person's mind, like, maybe you are right and you're on something. Historically, yeah, there is some history. I'm not like there's history based on what has been presented in this current moment, but I'm saying if you're to go back home to where people have a certain liberty and they have a certain concept of what they know around them. We're just Mennonite beings in North America.
But remember what I said earlier. I speak with people of all nationalities from all over the planet. I don't just talk to people who are in North America.
Are you familiar with Orisha?
Yeah, I'm a son of Olokun.
And
I'm a son of Olokun in America.
So you understand like
Yo, I'm a son of Olokun and I live in America. When I get with somebody from Ghana or Nigeria, that's the first thing I'm going to them and ask them, what Orisha are you under? And if they tell me, well, no, I don't deal with that because, that's the devil and that's voodoo and all that, I already know that they're Christianized and there's nothing for me to talk to them about. And they're Caucasian.
Yeah.
Even though they're dark skinned. Yeah. I know that they're Caucasian. Their mentality. Okay, so if that person with dark skin, their mentality is bleach, why can't a European's mentality be Moorish? And me get down with him.
Because they're the lowest form.
But his mentality is Moorish. So I'm gonna get down with the bleach guy. So hold on a second. So I'm gonna go unite. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna unite with the melanin. Hold on. I'm gonna go unite with the melanin being that has a European mindset, opposed to unite with the European that has a Moorish mindset.
Don't unite with any of them at all.
No, but again,
from a physical or spiritual or like an energy.
Right? It's just like we said, right? Just like we said in the beginning, right? There's a European who's studying more science, right? And there's black people out here, they want to be Christian. The European that's studying more science, he's going to court where these same black people go and they're paying fines, $5,000 fines for crap, right? For no insurance and no license plate and all that. This European is going into court and they're dismissing his charges that these black people, Negro color people, are saying, oh, well, they're racist when they pulled me over and they're racist when they did this and that to me. And this European is going into a European court and he's saying that he's more and they're dismissing his stuff. I'm not going to back that guy. He's crazy. Because he knows more about himself than this so-called Mennonite being who's 1 million, 2 million, 50 million years old. He doesn't even know how to get out of a little ticket. He doesn't even know how to get out of a ticket.
So maybe in
actuality, that's not an option for our people. That's not an option for our people. That's not an option for our people.
Prevention is better than cure.
How are you gonna prevent from getting a ticket when you're targeted for having this same melanin skin that we love so much? And
they don't give you a ticket, but yeah, they will argue on you. But if they find something, they'll make you find that house. You don't have a criminal record. got a ticket for riding my bike on the sidewalk. After I went to get my brother and my brother to go back home.
And I
almost
almost got the same ticket.
I
almost got the same
Okay, so I'm gonna trump everybody. I got 6 tickets for having a broken tail light.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cops is like, yo.
So like, you're targeted.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
When I was like about 12, 13 years old, and I was walking home, and 2 undercovers came up to me. Like at the time, I'm in the hood, so I knew the game. But 2 undercovers come, I'm a little youth, and I'm thinking, all right, whatever. So they came to me, and they started, whatever, but they want to search me. And I'm like, all right, go ahead, search me. Like I know I'm, a 12-year-old kid. I'm going home. Yeah. They start to pat down, and then one of them grabs my pants and pulls down my pants. Now, 12, 13 years old, first thing popping, this fucking bag. Bam! I got his hand away, and I stepped back, and I went from being cool, I know what's up, to where now I'm in terror. Like I'm like. And my house is right there. I turned that book straight to my house, ran to my house, tell my mom what happened. But that's what I'm saying. We're targeted.
Like nothing hides that, nothing will change that. But as long as we're in their premises, you'll always be a target.
No, because
matter of fact, us sitting right now could be considered a terrorist organization, and they can fly down the door and then.
Yeah, but that's assumption. That's assumption. That's assumption.
No, they can.
That's assumption. Right? That's assumption. Yeah.
Because they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that crackdown yet. It's not even that serious. They're not ready for martial law yet.
Martial. What are you talking about?
Wait, Islam. If there's a point being made by one person,
let him finish.
Like martial law, not happening. Just the other day, they had tanks in Boston because of some bombing. Tanks and soldiers in the street. What do you mean there's no martial law?
I'm not saying there's no martial law. I'm saying that they're not on that extreme.
What do you mean they're not extreme? There's tanks on the street in Boston right now. Last week. So you don't think tanks in the street? You think yeah, but they can't stop progression. Progression is a mindset. You can't stop that. That's like somebody say, yeah,
they did stop us from trying to become free from slaves. Yeah,
no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because
the fact that they got through the actual taking us from one place to the next, breaking it down. Yeah, they had our help too, but still, even whoever even tried to, there's errors. There's still errors. There's the fact that
yeah, but the error is us because we chose to drink from that black fountain. We could have went to the river and drank out the river. Why are you drinking from a black fountain when you could go to the river right over there and drink all the water you want? How come they didn't lynch the black inventors? No, because they were indigenous people. They can't touch those people. Period. But if you want to play the black and the Negro and whatever, then they got billy clubs, hoses, whatever for you. And you're going to have to take it. Look at Lauryn Hill.
She sold herself.
Right? How'd she sell herself?
She's in the Boston, man. I'm pretty sure she's in the Boston.
Right? That's assumption.
She's in Boston.
That's assumption. Right?
In what? Sorry?
In the Boston.
Right? Like,
The Boston.
yeah, but what's Baphomet? What's the Baphomet?
Going out on them now, like they throw it now even before.
Right. That's
what they made up a thing.
What I do know,
didn't because didn't you just say? Hold on a second.
Like the name. I know it's Baphomet, yeah, but I mean like the Baphomet. What does that mean?
The Baphomet is. Kind of true. I'm not like a whole Illuminati type of guy. I don't really use the word Illuminati.
Okay.
Like everyone knows the whole 1776 thing, the whole Adam West thing. They still like it. We just get
okay,
past that.
so let me ask you this question. Okay, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. since you mentioned Baphomet, hold on. Since you mentioned Baphomet, right? Since you mentioned Baphomet,
like an Illuminati
right?
thing, pretty much.
Since you mentioned Baphomet, right? Remember we were talking about the cosmos, right? And you made the statement about the 5-point star is a sun and all that. What's the symbol for Baphomet? What's the goat head though?
Upside down.
Okay, that star right there, upside down. Doesn't that look like Baphomet right there, right now? Hold on, so we're Baphomet right now. That's it right there. That's Baphomet right there.
It depends on how you look at it.
Oh, so now it depends on how you look at it now.
Because upside down,
It is upside down right there.
It is the inverted sun alpha, yes.
All right.
But I'm not doing rituals in the sense of for Baphomet, that entity, that energy, when using that symbol. I can still use that symbol right there as it is. Take it as it is, keep it upside down, get a couple of things that I need to, because I have to.
Yeah, but again, but it's a star.
Spirituality, right side down is manifestation. So what they're doing is they're manifesting things. They're using the science to manifest it.
So repeat that.
Not bad. Right? Baphomet ain't bad.
Nothing's wrong with Baphomet,
What is Baphomet, bro?
right? It's just like Illuminati. Nothing's not wrong with Illuminati.
What is Baphomet?
Baphomet's the goat. It's an animal, but I'm not.
Well,
What's the goal?
what's Heru, bro? Yo, what's Heru?
Peru
Yeah.
personified as a falcon or a hawk.
You're not an animal,
Falcon or a hawk?
I'm not a falcon or a hawk.
but you rep Heru though.
You
don't rep Heru? You don't honor Heru?
Like a skull. We have
So
Don't honor Heru.
you don't honor Heru.
I acknowledge Peru.
Acknowledgement is honor.
Acknowledge whatever.
Acknowledge whatever.
Yeah.
You know of Heru.
No,
So do you see the contradiction in like the science that you're bringing? Like,
Baphomet is an animal. I don't do what animal is.
A hawk's an animal.
But I don't do the animals. I don't have. You don't go to my house and see with an animal and a hawk or roof, and I worship all hail or roof.
So they're not doing
But they're not doing that.
They're not doing that with Baphomet either.
And scientists.
You know what?
The nature.
Okay, let me school you.
You don't
Let me school
manifest
you.
the Heru in yourself. If you're talking about the sun, as in whatever principles Heru means. The sun is a planetary order. Now we're talking.
But so is that
I
star.
manifest the sun or the star inside of me because I have a sun and solar plexus. That's why my skin thickness is.
Exactly. You get darker, right? So you get your melanin activates and you're able to do things. Your pineal activates. Now you're able to open your consciousness and produce it, right? That's why you came here today.
Right. It represents the concept of Capricorn, which is dealing with career, strategy, business, authority, discipline,
Is that not
self-defense. Yes,
Yeah.
it's astrology.
But astrology.
So that's what Baphomet is.
Yeah.
Is the constellation of Capricorn.
The wheel of animals, right?
No, it's the wheel of no. Animals are used to describe particular energies that are in you, the god. All right. So you,
Animals.
no, just as you said, Heru was a personification.
Personification.
It's an example.
It's not an actual animal.
Something. So what it's saying is the god in you, the lion in you. Understand? The lion in you. We know that's your heart.
That's
It's used to describe something. Not saying that you're an animal. But we're intelligent people and you understand it. So what I'm just saying is that's the spirit in which we're talking. Things not for what people tell you what they represent. Seeing them for what they are, and like you said, you can use it for good or bad. So we understand that here. You don't have to feel defensive of that. Trust me, we good.
Allegory. That's all.
That's all. We understand that. Trust me, I know your generation, you're keen on that.
I don't use
Yeah.
I know it the hawk has certain qualities.
Yeah. Same thing we're doing here.
Certain animals have certain qualities of what the earth, galactic board, whatever they're trying to represent.
Yeah.
But when it comes to spirituality, I don't use animals.
Cool.
It's a part.
Cool.
But I don't use
Right. So it's the same thing with Baphomet, right? Same thing with Baphomet. It represents something. It's explaining something.
And it's lower state.
Well, that's the way they're using it.
That's how they're using it.
And you're correct because that's how they're using it and that's what you don't like. And you're right. We don't like that either. That's how they're using it. Like you said, you can use it for positive or negative. Same energy, right? You can use it for positive and energy. You can punch someone in the face to defend your child, or you can just punch them in the
But
face.
even though we using Baphomet period, calling upon Baphomet rather than whatever it might be.
No, that's using it for wrong. We're not talking about that, Reggie. You're saying they're calling upon it. No one's calling upon it. What Baphomet is representation of manifesting. That's all. They're calling on Baphomet to manifest what they want. So they're just using the science, meaning they're using a symbol because it's an energy source. It can charge things. They have a bad mind. They're saying Baphomet, they want to manifest, not Baphomet, but they want to use the energy to just manifest their intentions.
And then in the same token,
I'm letting you know that
they understand. Yeah, but they understand how things work too.
Yeah.
They know that this is the plane of Baphomet.
Yeah.
Because this is the plane of things made manifest. So if this is the plane of things made manifest, then all of this is quote unquote devil, satanic. All of us are in that state right now.
The physical is the lower self, and the
Right?
spiritual
So
is
that's
the
all
higher
that
self.
means. It just means that that's your lower nature. And
But you master.
they understand that that's what is going on here. So we have to use that energy to manipulate this realm.
That's
And
right.
it doesn't mean you have to go around the
No.
all this kind of bullshit for my language. But we want to manifest things of greatness.
Good.
So even
But you wouldn't want to use Baphomet, so no matter if you want to use
you can
No,
use,
she's
but
part.
Baphomet's not the
Baphomet's
only.
part of
It's like
it.
Baphomet's not
All
negative.
everything.
Maybe
One of the
the
10 in the tree of life. Baphomet is one of the 10 in the tree of life.
Baphomet, yeah, it's not good
Which
or
is
bad.
you.
It's just what it is. It's like
Yeah.
saying, oh, this is negative. No, it's not negative or positive. And positive doesn't mean it's good or negative doesn't mean it's bad.
It's
just
frequency,
means
it's energy.
It's what needs to be. It's what is. It has to be.
It's like a snake. Then remember even when Moses came up to serve with the rod?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
both had a rod and the
Right.
both turned to snakes,
Both
and
turned
one
to
was
snakes.
I was
used
just
Good,
telling
good.
I was thinking about a rod, but for teaching. I was saying you can either use the stick, the point to teach for instruction, or you can beat with the stick. See? And that's the higher and lower self of that same thing too.
That was them.
It's like when
saying the same thing.
it's like them saying people have the assumption that, or when they say Illuminati, they're talking about this group of guys that they go in the coffin and they do whatever and they're manipulating hip hop music and whatever. When Illuminati means illuminated, and that's it. Like that's what it is. No, there's no. Forget all that.
Did you even hear what he said? Sorry,
Right?
they're trying to get what?
Forget what they're trying to do. It's not what about.
It is what it is.
It's not about what they're trying to do.
Trying to put concepts into your mind, like
people or a group or a sect. Because when they die, they may be enlightened, but what makes them feel like they're so enlightened? And that goes back to know about light frequency.
Yeah, but enlightened has to do with what type of knowledge you have.
that's the perfect
Not-
question. Yeah.
Right? It's just like people say when they say, oh yeah, we're gonna call these bees African to demoralize African people. What are you talking about? We're not bees. Like what? There's no relation to that. They just call it African bees because the bees are kill you. Just like African people, they're vicious. They come at you.
The leeches that are leeching the
You know?
world never came together and made up a group called the Illuminati. They sent out agents ahead of time or during the time to make up a scary name like terror,
Like boogeyman.
Bin Laden, Tom. These are scary tactics, right? So they the one who made up to call them an elite title, and we don't even know who them is. It's like they. We always say they.
They did.
Be careful when you say they.
Like he asked a good question, like what gives them, like what makes them illuminated?
Right.
Exactly. What makes them illuminated is us. Because if they were doing what they're doing and we paid no attention and didn't feed into whatever we thought, then they wouldn't exist.
Power.
But we're the ones who are letting these people conduct things and say, okay, well, they're doing this to us, they're doing that to us.
Just like
Exactly.
Yes.
So therefore,
Cut it down.
there's no one group of people that are doing anything to us to say that they're actually physically doing this thing and then we have no say or power in what happens.
Just like us calling them white supremacists, like calling you
Yeah.
white supremacists.
Yeah.
You're making them supreme.
Yeah.
over you, then what do you call yourself?
Because when you say white supremacy, you're talking about yourself, but putting the energy towards them.
I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day, Portuguese, right? So, but like clearer than me, Portuguese. And so he's talking his people history, like he's like telling me about when he's from Guyana. He's telling me about when like people from Portugal moved to Guyana and it was just a small group of them. So they stayed with, they didn't be with everybody else, they were with themselves. So at a certain time, then, okay, they want to start marrying and stuff. So, but then around them was all ethnic people. So they started, like he's telling me about his family. Like, he's got black, he's got Native American, he's got this Asian, he's got, whoever was around. They mixed with them. So then there's a point of the story now. He says that the like what we call white today, Caucasian, white Europeans started calling them. They called everybody else because they're all mixing. They called all of them, like all his people now. They called them Europeans, and they called themselves white. So he's as he's talking to me, he's like, why are we called Europeans and they get called white? I don't get it. I just let them talk. I don't get into nothing. You don't know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So I don't start letting them know about the status of the words and stuff. But that's it there, right? You know what? They know. Like that's what Illuminati, when you look in the definition of the word, it means a person with knowledge. It means you have knowledge. Somebody enlightened. That's why you're illuminated. You're enlightened. You have knowledge. So that's all it is. If the Illuminati to be in the knowledge. Yeah. Right. If you're not in the knowledge, if I can keep you away from the knowledge, then I'll do that.
And then you're gonna call
and
someone
you're not gonna
Illuminati.
call you
right.
Illuminati.
Not only when you're not in the knowledge do you call someone Illuminati.
Yeah. If you're in this knowledge, you call yourself Illuminati.
Right.
Because you're enlightened.
Okay.
Or you wouldn't call it.
All right. Illuminati.
Well, I'm just saying that. Like,
all right. Okay, let me just give it. Okay, Illuminati. It's a noun.
Right.
Persons claiming to have superhuman knowledge. Of Illuminatus, enlightened. Illumination, the act of illuminating the decoration of streets or buildings. Okay, that's in terms of brightness. But more or less a noun, person claiming to have superhuman knowledge. That's an Illuminati.
Superhuman knowledge.
Superhuman knowledge. Superhuman.
So, do you want to be an Illuminati or not? That's basically the thing.
Right.
People, they have superhuman
And
knowledge.
they started
beyond.
like I guess the British ones or whatever started trying to be the elite of them. So that's why they kept themselves as white, and the rest of Europe is European. So you always refer to those people as white, right? You don't call them European people.
And then when you look up white, the dictionary is right back there. You look up white, it's going to tell you that it has nothing to do with the Caucasian race, the European race, Indo-European race, Dravidians, whatever can't be white people. So if Caucasian can't be white, and then we call him white, then we just gave them everything. If it's a 5-point star, that if it's in the universe, whether it's upside down, right side up, sideways, whatever, it's still a 5-point star to the universe. The universe doesn't play no Baphomet and none of that stuff.
I know what is the word Baphomet mean?
Right? Like it is what it is. It's a star.
I mean, you're going to use a
But
lot of things to manifest what you want in the world. So, I mean, our focus on what we think is negative isn't helping us move forward into negativity.
Right.
And even with who we want to look at as being white or filthy compared to someone who's smart, well, who can help you on your journey, it's in their actions, their intentions, and what you see them do. So, if you're going to turn someone away because they're filthy, and they have a piece of the puzzle for you, to help you on your journey. You're gonna defer that just because. What I'm saying is, you're gonna have to be accepting and a little bit more open-minded to who's around you. Because you're gonna deal with a lot of different people who have a lot of different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to know which battle it is. Are you on a physical realm battle or are you on a spiritual realm battle?
You know what I mean? I've met a lot of beautiful people, and not all of them are.
Just like that thing. Not every year, not every morning your friend.
Yeah,
Not every year.
Your Europeans, your enemy.
That's a big thing right there.
Right?
And says that, you know, keep an eye on them because they're gonna reveal the truth to you. Prophet says that. Right.
And again, we're not going
I
into.
mean, we lose ourselves and be like, oh,
Yeah.
we don't care. No, the point is we want to be responsible to bring ourselves back to our greatness.
Exactly.
That's why we have to
my
be
next
responsible, not egotistical.
He also says he's gonna make them tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
So now it's not about shunning whoever you want to shun. It's about what are you even going to do with your people that want to do who are like-minded in the first place.
Right.
It's not about who's not going to do what you think is going to do.
I'm not joking. You gotta
Your
do it.
people in the first place that love you and want to grow with you. And then
And keep in mind, like with regard to like to the race thing, right? Do your research on slavery, right? And how many Europeans lost their life trying to get us out of slavery? Gave up their life. When our own was on the horse, whipping us, ripping us apart, helping slave master kill us and all that, there's Europeans risking their life to make sure that we get to Canada and all that type of stuff safely.
And it's
right now, too.
And it's a given that we
Right now.
Right? Like,
So that's going on right now, too.
Yeah, right. And that's
Right
not
now.
to take away from
yeah, the evil that did, yeah.
or the evil but our people who helped us.
Who helped us.
There's none of our people who did the same, but we weren't in a position to.
And that's
Right.
historical, might not
Okay.
be historical, but for it to be in this movie, you know, it has to be, there must be some truth about it. When in Django, when they talk about the black slaver, when he tells them that's the part he wants Django to play. And the black slaver, like in the eyes of the slave in the field, like anybody who sold out is that guy who sold out.
Yeah,
most.
that's
We
the
hate,
guy.
Like, forget about like, and I never knew this guy. To me, the top sellout was what we would call the house nigga.
Yeah. Samuel, yeah.
Samuel
That's
Jackson.
that's the guy because our concept.
And then
We
you're
were
telling me
ahead
there's
of the
somebody
house.
who we hate even more than him. Like there's a black man who does worse than that guy.
In our information, we were never the head. That's why you think like that. Because in our information, we were never the head. So you're just gonna look the greatest quote unquote nigger that could be back then. Was the house nigga.
The house nigga, yeah.
But looking at us, freaking slaver, because we never thought that happened. We're thinking it's just pale-faced slave masters.
Yeah.
But then you put in the perspective that okay, we were slave masters as well. Then how did that even come about? What did I have to do?
Yeah.
Was it after I was good? I was a good slave boy for 20 years, and now I get to be a master.
That's why he was DiCaprio was like, I just don't understand why Big Ben, after all these years shaving my dad's neck,
Didn't
he
just
just
cut,
split his
yeah.
throat.
Yeah.
Because there's something there. And then they show the picture of, like they do, the person standing up is the ruler and the person sitting down is the slave. And it was back in the day, Big Ben standing and little DiCaprio sitting down. They were just showing you who back in the day was running that place. But we're not seeing that because we only have one vision of our people as slaves. But now, give thanks to the Jolly Multi Temple, you now see in your face. And you
Been here. We own this.
been
We control this. We don't own nothing.
Islam, brother. Anything you want to say or close out with or ask or anything?
Anybody else? Any questions or comments or anything like that? Before we close out?
the young man in the front is like, I'm future grand chief, man. Powerful brethren, powerful man.
And then so it's not not a stranger. Like we've been on the phone building and all that, you know what I mean? So it's and it's good to even with the other brothers too coming in, once you get the young brothers and sisters up in here, it's gonna be a whole different thing for the future.
Yep.
Believe that, because it's not even about us or whatever. We can't. I'm 38.
Trust
Like,
me.
I can't do nothing with this. I can't do nothing with this. You know?
Net, you're kind of net. Y'all have a little thing, roll with it, man.
Can't do nothing with this.
Roll.
So Islam to all the Moors online. We had about 5 online today. And everybody in attendance. We just close out. Yeah, we just close out with the prayer. The affirmation. Yo, straight. Right? We just close out with the prayer. For those who are new, you don't have to take part. You could just listen.
Your own affirmation.
Do your own affirmation. But this is the part where we basically, harmonize all our energies in the same place and give energy to the ancestors and to the prophet. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Because as we know, 7 is the chakras and aligning ourselves with the universal power. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble to Ali, also known as Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Islam, Islam, Islam. Islam, Moors.